Energized show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Forged Irish Stout. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
Introduce the guest, man.
Today we have the one and only tough champ. He is the diva. It's Brad Superman Katona. Brad, how you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, as you can probably imagine. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty satisfied, and just it feels good to be on. It feels really it feels good to be home and in the UFC.
Congratulations, Brad. Congratulations. For the people tuning in, they've seen us go through 12 weeks of backing yourself, Team McGregor, and also like Team Ireland. And for you to come out with the win in Boston was unbelievable to see, wasn't it, Ross?
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I think we called it from day one. We thought you were going to be the hardest man to beat in there, and it proved that at the end of the day. Brad, tell us this. What was it like to do the Ultimate Fighter experience for a second time?
Oh, it was rough. It was rough for sure. So the first time I did the Ultimate Fighter, I was like, man, that was so cool. I'm so glad I did it, but I never want to do it again. Like, that was very clear. Awesome experience. Crazy waking up. The cameras are on you. You have to put on your microphone. You're on a reality series. This is cool. This is so alien. It's not real life. The second time, between the notice I got for it, the fact that it was at bantamweight, the fact that if I messed up any step of the way, that was my UFC dream done. Cut. Like, that's it. If I got injured, if I lost, if I didn't make weight, if anything happened that would prevent me from fighting and winning, that was the UFC dream gone. Even after the show, if I didn't win the finale, that's it. Most likely that was it. And so the pressure of all of that made it very difficult. And that's not even counting all the other stresses that were in the Ultimate Fighter house.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it looks like it's one of the hardest competitions to win, just based on the fact that, like, you're away from your family and friends. Obviously, one of the biggest talking points this season was you being on Team Chandler to start with, and we can't ignore that. Did that make things more difficult? And also, I suppose this time your SBG team was there, but they just weren't in your corner. How strange was that?
It was very strange. You know, before getting on, I guess before the team selections, I felt, at least between John and I, we were speaking and saying, there's a good chance I'm on Team Chandler, and what might that look like, and it kind of troubleshoot some things. But it was a lot more difficult than I thought, and I think a lot of that came down to expectations versus reality. You know, as soon as I was on Team Chandler, the very first thing Chandler said is, man, I'm really glad I have you veterans, because you know exactly what you need. So then it came as a shock to me when I suffered a cut in training and couldn't wrestle, and I'm going to the coach, hey coach, this is what I need. And then I met resistance. You know, that was very difficult, because then it also pulled me as an outsider of the team. Not only was I the Team McGregor guy, so when everyone's in the van, you know, talking crap about Conor, I'm like, you guys are so off base. You're just you're just so bitter. Like, and you're just attacking something because it makes you feel good. So I was an outsider there, and then I'm an outsider in training, and then I'm the one pushing to get the resources the other team had. Hey, Team McGregor is cutting weight at the Performance Institute. I want to cut weight at the Performance Institute. Why? Because it's a multi-million-dollar facility that's available to us. Why wouldn't we want to do that? Instead, I'm getting told, no, I want to watch video because we're sitting down watching 4 of our teammates' video. Why don't we just take the whole practice, watch everybody's video, not just Brad Katona's video, watch everybody's video? No, you're not fighting right away. So it was stuff like that where I kept on meeting resistance. And then even after the show, Chandler went on and kept attacking me, and I was like, "Are you serious, man? Like, is this something personal? What's going on?" So it was very difficult. You know, during the show, I will have to say, Team Chandler changed his tune after the first 3 days, and he started giving me more things that I wanted. Not everything, but started bending in some ways, and I really appreciate that. A lot of the coaches helped out and maybe picked up the slack there. And again, I have to say I do appreciate that because you didn't have to do it, and that was one of the reasons why I was successful. But it felt mighty good to go and switch teams and have Coach Kavanaugh behind me. It was one of the biggest weights lifted off my shoulders, having Owen Roddy, Tristan Kendi, my nutritionist. He dialed in my second weight cut, and you could see the difference just in energy, in appearance, in everything in my second fight versus the first. And that's having just fought 10 days prior, So it was good to be on Team McGregor when I finally went to Team McGregor and be reunited with my team.
Yeah, I think one of the most evident parts was with the sort of like you could see the splinter in the group was when Cody Gibson decided to go back to high school and try and tell you had no friends. I thought that was like one of the most pathetic things. No one here likes you, Brad. I was like, Jesus, that is one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard. Also, like, Brad, like from ever talking to you, like you seem like one of the most inoffensive people ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't understand how someone would actually be offended by you. Like you seem like just super nice guy at all times. And like we've met Katie a few times as well, and she's so nice. I'm like they seem like the ultimate noise couple. Like I don't understand how someone's actually getting offended by this guy. And then Chandler just sat there and like just let that back and forth happen and didn't say a word. I thought that was actually a bit of weakness in Chandler's point of view. He should have showed more leadership there and stepped in and just went, Cody, just give it a rest.
Yeah, it was fear oozing out of them. That's what it was. They weren't necessarily super confident in the Timmer fight, I guess. At least I'll assume Chandler wasn't. Maybe he was going, this is nothing but hopefully gain. It might throw Brad off, and then Timmer's successful. For Cody, I don't think he wanted to fight me. I think there was a path to victory if he fought Timmer. I did think there was. He could maybe hurt him on the feet. That's how he wins that fight. Against me, I don't honestly know how Cody Gibson wins that fight. And I know it's after the fight, so it's very easy to say that. But going into it, we really didn't. Besides me making a massive blunder, I didn't think he wins that fight. Now, what's interesting about that clip is that was about an hour before leaving for the semifinals. So I was just about to fight Timmer, and he does that, which I think made it all the less classy. Like if that was a couple of days prior, cool, whatever, talk your shit. But we are literally about to get on a bus to get sent to the biggest fight of our lives, and now you're doing it.
Yeah.
It seems like jealousy, Brad. But like, obviously we don't know. Well, but we don't know exactly what was going on in the house. But it just seemed a bit like, oh, look, Brad's after getting his way now. He's now back in his team, SBG, Team McGregor, and they're just there coaching with Chandler. It just came across as jealousy, to be honest.
I think there was some things I did in the house that bothered them, and it was because it was showing them exactly what they're not doing.
Was it the poetry, Brad?
It was like it's my game, like that's pretty much it. Between the poetry, Katie, how can you not be jealous?
No, man.
Really, like it. I think if you look in the house, I came prepared. I brought stuff that was going to be creature comforts, like my own, blanket, pillow, my food scale, cutting boards, knives, stuff that these small little things that are going to bother you. Let's say irritate you in the Ultimate Fighter house from having done it. There was those things. Not only that, but I actually had the confidence to talk to my coach and be like, this is what I need. This is what I want to do. I want to watch the video. I want to use the Performance Institute. Everybody else is, being quiet. And I'm going, man, why aren't we, advocating for our needs? And I wasn't just advocating for my needs. I was advocating for everybody, saying, hey, we should use this. We should use that. Why don't we have this? Then you look at being in the house. I knew exactly what to be eating, when to be eating it, weighing my food, the supplementation, and everybody else is just kind of winging it. Like a week out from a fight, they're having these giant steaks, and then the weight's high, and then they have to cut their hair off, and all all this stuff is stuff that I'm dialed in, and I had to be dialed in because again, I had about 9 days notice for this. They had 6 to 8 weeks. I had to be dialed in, and even if I didn't have to be, I would be dialed in. I felt like that just you add up all those small little gains, if you will, and that starts messing with you psychologically. That's a reminder of something you're not doing and the opposition is. And I felt like that was one reason why maybe, Cody started targeting me, because I was the biggest threat, not only in my abilities, but look at what I'm doing. I'm doing every box is checked.
You can only
maybe that's where...
Ross, you can only imagine how much they dislike Brad more if he brought the last winning trophy of the Ultimate Fighter to the house and just left it there in the house.
Left on the bedside locker.
Yeah.
Just how you know. Yeah, Brad, you know what? I think that gives slightly more credence to why maybe they thought you were a diva, that you had all your own stuff. But again, like, you've been there and you've done it before, so therefore you knew what you needed. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of times, I think it's something with, like, I don't want to throw them on one boat, but like the Americans, they're like, Team Chandler, Team America, yeah. As opposed to you were like, I'm actually here for Team Brad Katona, and that's all that really matters. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the UFC, you're no longer any team, you're yourself. I think that's where the others missed a step and where you gained a step. And I think when Conor coached against Uriah before, I think that's the first thing he said to them. He goes, Team Europe, this is bullshit. He goes, you're here for yourself, and that's the idea of the game. The idea of the game is get to the final and win, and it looks like that's the approach you took, Brad.
Yeah, like in some ways, I think we just met. Like, we literally just met. So we're going to know each other for 4 weeks. That was how long filming was. And after that point, there's a good chance I'm never going to talk to any of you again. Never going to train with any of you again. So why are we pretending like this is Team Chandler? Because after the first fights, we're all going to be having to fight each other. And that's exactly what happened. So should I be buddying up to Timmer and being my best friends with him? If that makes you happy and relaxed, sure. But when my existence seems to irk almost every single one of you, I'm not going to be the one to be making sure that there's only so much I can do there. When we're waiting on Timmer every single morning for him to make his coffee, we're waiting 5-10 minutes for him, yet I'm late once and it's an issue. I waited for that guy every single freaking morning on Team Chandler, but you don't hear about it. And we
that didn't make good TV, Brad.
Yeah, that wasn't good TV.
And guess what? We're doing nothing. Like, it's not like, oh, you want to come back and scroll on your phone or watch a TV show or anything. We have none of it. So what? Sit back and spend time in the house. I wasn't even in a rush to get to the gym or get back home from the gym because everything was the same. Like, you have time to spare. It was just, why are we playing this whole team farce? Like, it's not, we're not a team. I didn't even know who you were. You didn't know who I was. Now, with that said, am I going to be a good teammate? Absolutely. I'll be the best teammate I can. Did I injure anybody? Absolutely not. Again, not attacking Timmer, but he clashed heads with Jason Knight and cut him. I never did that, yet he's a better teammate than me because he's not going to rock the boat.
No, but I think in all life,
this is what I need.
I think in all life, if you're not actually challenging the people around you and challenging yourself, then what are you doing? So like it's great that you have those traits. Brad, I have to ask you this. You're one of the few people ever in tough history who have had 3 different coaches. You've had Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, and Daniel Cormier. I want you to rank them in order. Who was the best to worst?
Okay, so I think we know exactly the answer. It would be Conor, DC, Chandler. The team that Conor brought, again, I can only assume it's out of his pocket. And now we could say, well, he has so much money and all that. That doesn't change what he did. He brought in, I believe, the best coaches in the world. You know, John, Owen, Sergey. He brought in Tristan Kennedy, the nutritionist. He brought in the fast doc and the fast crew. He brought in a like massage sports therapist for his team. He brought in a chef for the refuel meals. And then you have Conor also taking some practices. Like, how is that not elite? That's exactly what you need to be, well, not necessarily to be successful, but that is checking, again, every box. That is putting everything in your favor. And again, I don't think the UFC picked up that bill. Conor picked up that bill, you know, and again, we can argue, you know, yeah, he has a ton of money, but that doesn't change the fact of what he did. He set that up, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Daniel Cormier, after that, was a very good coach. Very good coach, brought in a great team as well, brought in nutritionists, brought in, really gave us whatever we could possibly need. I remember him bringing us to their house for a pool workout just to break up the monotony of being in the Ultimate Fighter gym every day. He took a lot of the human aspect into account. And then again, Team Chandler, I don't think did a horrible job. Did I wish they had a nutritionist? Absolutely. Do it. Like, there's these other things besides training that mattered. Should we have pushed to use more of the Performance Institute and maybe a little bit more enjoyment? And that sounds weird, but for example, everything that DC did to break us out of the routine, you know, it goes a long way when you're in this pressure cooker. So Team Chandler brought in great coaches. They were, you know, you have Robert Drysdale, you have Jason Stroud. Yeah. We had Bob Cook, Ryan Bader. You know, there's a lot of great guys he brought in, Sean Soriano, and that was nice. So it's not like he did a bad job. It seemed like he did care a lot. But there's levels to this game, and I think you look at the Formula One team Conor brought in. You know, we felt like the race cars we are.
If one of us go to war, we all go to war.
That's it. As you describe yourself, a Ferrari, I think it was on the show, Brad. But tell us this. Obviously, UFC 292 in Boston. You fought Cody Gibson, your arch nemesis, in the finale. Obviously, like, this was very sort of short notice announced to the world. But when did you know about it, and how did that sort of come about?
I think I found out about the fight date itself 6 weeks out, like confirmation. There was rumors popping up that it was UFC 292. I thought it would be, for some reason, I was like, man, it's probably going to be August 26th. That's why I had it in my head, because I thought, you know, it's never on a pay-per-view. They're going to finish the last episode on Tuesday, I think the 15th. So maybe not that weekend, but the following weekend there'll be some time. There's a Singapore card. They have had 2 cards at the same time before, especially when one is at a strange time. You know, so that's what I thought. That was where my money was on. So I had to, let's say, pull back my training camp by a week, which for anybody who knows me was probably a good thing. So I had 6 weeks notice, but I knew about Cody Gibson since, you know, March. So that was the thing that mattered the most. The fight date, really, we could lay in most of the groundwork and do a little peek and then put on a world-class performance.
Was it hard keeping your tongue on that, knowing who you're fighting in the finale?
It's tough. Like it certainly is difficult, because you leave the show so excited, but you can't say anything. And then you're getting ready, and people are like, what are you getting ready for? I'm going, well, it's, you know, I should be getting ready for the finale, because they bring on a lot of guys from the show. And you're doing that, and then you win the semifinal fight, and you still can't say who. You know, and then they didn't announce the fight, so I can't even say when. And so it's all very secretive with your coaches, and you're starting to do the sparring, and then the UFC crew come down. So people know, but you still can't say. So it's nice now. And even if I could say, it doesn't really matter at that point, because again, everything's on the line in that finale fight. You once again push all your chips into the table. So it doesn't matter what you had done; it matters what you're going to be doing. So it's almost you couldn't really enjoy it until now, and I am enjoying it.
Me and Barry nearly had a full-on argument over UFC 292. I was like, they are fighting on that. That's where the finale is. Like, oh, I've seen it reported. Like, and he was like, man, it's Tuesday and like the fight's not announced yet. He's like, they can't be fighting in a week's time. But I was like, and then I was convinced it wasn't happening. Then it was announced, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, well, first of all, brilliant, because like another excuse to stay up till 6 a.m., which is great. So no, it was brilliant, and obviously you got the job done. Not only the only fighter in UFC history to win the Ultimate Fighter twice, you've also done it in 2 different weight classes, Brad. Tell us, how much does that actually mean to you? Because obviously you'll go down in history. That'll probably never ever be achieved by anyone else.
Yeah, I certainly doubt it'll ever be achieved by anybody else. I think it's cool. Really, I think it's cool. What I'm most excited about is having, let's say, a unique achievement like that, but then it be tied to a great fight that people will want to rewatch.
Yeah.
Because let's say it was even a fast stoppage, or it's okay. Like, I'd take it. Like, listen, I didn't want to do 15 minutes. I'd certainly take that fast stoppage, but I don't think it would have that replayability. Like, people wouldn't be watching it maybe again or really have the same desire. But you hear, hey, it was a fantastic fight. At least that's what I'm being told. It's not a self-proclaimed fantastic fight. I think it was a good fight.
That was okay. Like, it was all right.
I think it makes it all that more special. It makes it all that much like people might actually watch it, and it's like, oh, that's if they didn't know, oh, that's a cool fact that this is the only time this guy that anybody's ever won it twice, and just so happens to be in 2 different weight classes. And I think, hey, again, super cool. It's a unique achievement, and maybe when I'm 60 years old, I'm rocking in my in my rocking chair outside on the deck, going, back in my day, I used to fight UFC. I can really, really appreciate it. Right now, I go, that's cool, but my eyes on that title. Like, I want to be I'm picturing myself lifting up that belt. That's what all this is for. Certainly, the trophies, that look cool on a trophy case when I'm all done. But right now, we're in this to be the best. So as much as that is cool, a lot of the piece that comes with that is that UFC contract. I'm back home. I can now continue my dream, and that's. I wish it was more like hurrah type of feeling, like energizing feeling, but really right now it's that deep breath out and a little bit of calm for the first time in what I feel is almost 4 years now.
Brad, just before we wrap up the Ultimate Fighter part of the show, do you think you may come back and try and win it a 3rd time in a different weight class?
I hope not. Maybe lightweight would be really enjoyable. I could be the one barbecuing the steaks every night and enjoying it. But if it was flyweight, like, guys,
no, we don't want to kill you.
We've
seen those abs when you take off the shirt of bantamweight. Well, we don't need to see flyweight.
Brad, we can go heavyweight, baby. We can do it all.
Yeah.
Brad, like, obviously after that win, everyone in Ireland was tuning in. Obviously, Ian Gary got the win on the same card as well, and even yesterday it was announced Kiefer Crosby is now signing with the UFC as well. Like, where are you sort of, like Dana White was talking about, there is the potential of UFC Dublin in 2024. Like, when you're looking at the landscape of your career next, like, because you have the world at your feet or in your hands, what way are you looking at, like, competing next, Brad?
Yes, there's a big pay-per-view in December that I'm hearing rumors of, and maybe that's a possibility. I don't know, because quite frankly, we're less than a week removed. John's given me very strict orders to relax, so I'm trying to relax, but at the same time, part of me is going, okay, what is next? And maybe that's just because I'm an addict and I just got my high, and now I need a bigger high, and maybe that's the problem. So I am trying to soak this in, slightly. But December is interesting. I know there's rumors of maybe something like a UFC Canada as well, early, 2024, I guess. UFC Dublin again. What is my oyster? Like these are good problems to be talking about. It all depends on dates, opportunities, all that. Some of this is out of my hands. I could go, man, I want to fight December. They go, no, you're not fighting December. Like that could very well be the dialogue. Is it time to start that dialogue right now? Probably not. But I am healthy and I am ready to go. And again, I am an addict. So that's let's maybe chase the dragon a little more.
Yeah,
Ross,
I wouldn't mind.
Ross, you'll obviously Brad's obviously going to be on Conor versus Chandler card, isn't he? Like,
Yeah, we want to see the Manitoba Mauler get in there and do his thing again. Brad, my question is, how fast you want to break that top 15? Like, I could see you in there and like getting your hand raised with like a Pedro Munoz, who's like ranked 10 at the moment. Ricky Small. I can see you beating those guys right away. Is that the sort of benchmark you want to set for yourself? I'm sure you don't want to be hanging around unranked for too long.
I'll certainly skip the queue if I can. Like nobody's going to complain about that. I feel like I could be fighting for the title tomorrow, and we're on that level. That's where I've been living this entire time, in the UFC, out of the UFC. Thankfully, I have the coaches that I do who have been treating me as like the world champion that we know I can be.
You're the Brave World Champion.
Yeah,
Yes.
the lineal Brave champion.
But we weren't bringing in that UFC money even, yet they still treated me like how I needed to be treated so I can succeed, in let's say 18 months and fight for the belt and be successful. I really have to thank them for that, because there was, again, a lot of reasons not to, but they did. And I very much appreciate that. So if we can skip the queue, absolutely. Let's skip ahead and start that march. And again, good problems to be having. If I do need to fight out of the top 15 first, and then maybe we can jump in then, fantastic. A lot of this is outside of my control, unfortunately. But what I can control, and I know it's cliche, is what I do every single day. So I'm going to get back to work with my coaches, and what's, I guess, I hope you can feel it off me, is the excitement to get back with them and start working on things, because I feel, especially in my striking, Dave Roach and I, we've created such a solid foundation. After my Hamza Kuheji fight in Brave, when I captured the belt, we've really disassembled my entire striking game and started building it from the base up. And now that we have such a solid foundation, we're going to be actually accelerating in improvement. We're not just going to be moving linearly. We're going to be accelerating. We're going to be improving exponentially, and I'm really excited to show it. I think you can see it from the Timmer fight to the Cody Gibson fight, from when I defended my belt in Brave against Gamzat Magomedov. Just the jumps in that striking game, in the nastiness, in the elbows, and with the knees, and how I'm causing damage. I believe Cody left with a broken orbital bone. I don't have confirmation on it, but that's the damage I'm trying to inflict, and that's what the fans want, and I'm happy to give it to them.
There
No,
we
we
have
definitely
Baz.
saw that in each week. We were saying, "Geez, Brad's really come on a lot." Like, so we definitely saw it. But yeah, that was vicious, Brad. That's a vicious way to end the show.
The Winnipeg winner.
Yeah, I'm actually afraid to see you again, Brad, after this. But no, Brad, from following you the whole way through the 12 weeks, then seeing you there win like as well. We were in touch with John and everyone in the team, being like, congratulations, like even Katie as well. It was beautiful to see, and not only you did it for yourself, your friends, your family, but you did it as well for Irish MMA as well. So we absolutely loved it, didn't we, Ross?
Yeah, we did. It was a great season to follow. You were the star of the show, Brad. We love watching it, and thanks for giving us so much entertainment, and well done on winning it. Like we said, created history. The first ever tough champ, the only ever tough champ, never to be done again. 2 different weight classes. Brad Katona, he's coming for that top 15, and then he's coming for that belt, and we're behind you all the way. Our very own Superman.
Yeah. And potentially a heavyweight tough. You'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Brad,
Tristan said he can get there.
Yeah, Tristan.
Hey, if there's a will, there's a way, and if Tristan wants to put me on that heavyweight plan, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be delicious, you know. Just while I have you guys, I want to thank you guys for the support. You know, I said the first time I did the Ultimate Fighter, it was very much for me, but this time it's for everybody else. It's for them. It's for my family. It's for Katie. It's for my coaches. It's for the guys who have stuck behind me. It was very easy when to have fans and to have support when, you know, you're in the UFC and you're successful, but when you get released and you're literally fighting in the middle of nowhere sometimes in enemy territory and nobody hears about it, to have the support behind me, it's been such a journey, and I just appreciate it because nobody had to stick by me, yet they did. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of Ireland's support. I appreciate everything I have, and I don't say that lightly. I don't take anything for granted. It's just I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to represent the people who matter.
There you have it, Ireland's own. You made the Fighting Irish poster that we had for UFC 292. So we're claiming you, and no one else can have you.
Man.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take all of the love.
Yeah. Before we wrap things up, Brad, that was beautiful. But anything else to say before we wrap things up? To wrap up tough.
No. I think I think we put the stamp on tough. I'm done with it now. Unless I'm coming back as a coach, I don't want to be in that house again. So thanks again, guys.
no worries, Brad. Thanks a million for coming on. For those of you who are watching at home, make sure to like, share, smash that subscribe button, and as always, stay energized.
Energized show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.